So hello and welcome everybody to the pre-show Formula Challenge at GPVWC. If you joined us last week, thank you for coming back again. If not, welcome. We're starting these each time. If you are a Formula Challenge driver or team manager or just a fan, you can come and join us in the GPWC Discord, and we'll have a good chat and natter about what's going on ahead of the race that is today. We've got the whole week's today, tomorrow and Thursday at GPVWC. We've got series of plenty, all here at Silverstone for round 8. This is the Formula Challenge though. We've got an awful lot of racing coming up. So we've got 2 races for you, 2 13-lap races, and I thought we've got about half an hour here just to sort of talk through a few drivers, see what's going on, see if we can get a little bit of a prediction ahead of the race maybe, before the real race starts, and the qualifying starts at 25 to 8, and then the race starts probably at 8 o'clock. Our friend and colleague Jake Sanson will be joining you for that one to actually commentate you through the race. On the other hand, though, I'm here for the next half an hour, and I can already see a couple of people joining me, which is great. We didn't manage to catch up with my next person that I'm going to bring in last time out, so it'll be great to speak to him, particularly as his team is currently leading the standings. So we shall bring in Mr. David Junt. Hello, David.
Hello,
David,
there.
We do. Hello. So, welcome. Thank you for coming on the pre-show. At the moment, you've got yourself a great team that's currently leading the standings and the driver's title at the moment. You must be pretty pleased.
Well, yes, I am a lot. It's already, I mean, after the whole downfall of the few years, now rebuilding the team like in Formula Challenge, getting top 3 at the end of last season. Now having the team now lead the standings with 2 very capable drivers is very nice feeling. I haven't really felt since, I would say, GPVWC World GT in 2013 or Super Cup with 1 standing driver. But yeah, I'm also very glad for Marcin Mlinek, who has so far shown that he's a force to be reckoned with, and he's always been up there on every race meeting so far, so I would expect to see him there as well. Although in Max's case we have a bit of issues. I think he said his wheel gave up and he's using some replacement one and is having to, well, test the waters with what he's got for this race. I'm hoping he will be fine as well, because he's usually also a very quick driver.
Oh, wow, so he's literally on a replacement wheel. It's almost like getting given a completely different car to go out there and try and drive. So that's going to be interesting to see how he fares with that. You also drive in this series, of course, so and very well for that matter, sitting 3rd in the standing at the moment. Do you have any conflict of interest there? I mean, obviously last time out you came 2nd, like race 2 you came 2nd to get behind your driver, things like that. So is there any conflict of interest there? On track, do you watch out for your guys a bit more, give them a bit more leeway, or is it just fair game if they're racing with you?
Well, currently I'm also racing them for position because Red Arrow needs really some good points to climb up the standings, but I'm usually not really forcing it to the point where it's getting really into car contact too much, since factor 2 damage model or collision model could still give some horrendous results, and I don't really want to have that to happen. And in the end, we both need the points, so let's say I'm a bit more careful when I race my own team drivers. But to be honest, I'm having not the same expectations as I did. Well, even at Montreal, I wasn't sure, because I didn't know about my pace, about the feeling, because it's always like a very difficult thing to get back into Formula cars. So I'm more of a, let's say, GT endurance guy or something. But then it rained at Montreal, and somehow looks like I've got turned my rain skills on, and in race 1, well, only couldn't close in on Mr. Shepherd, who's doing really well, nice top speed, but double second position was like a very great result for me. It's luckily, I would say, laid me back up in the standings. Maybe it's a bit better position with third than I expected to be, since I'm having had my fair share of, let's say, bad events at Valencia and Red Bull Ring, since I scored in those, but I'm having had some issues with tire wear and grip level, and felt like I was driving a green track instead of grip, and from time to time still having the feeling like I'm not getting the best out of it, grip wise and speed wise.
Think you can go for the win today, though? After 2 second places, your third podium this year already. Think you can go for that win?
Well,
make your team manager happy. It's the team's home race as well.
That's true. Well,
Swanson's watching.
If it's he is fourth, will probably be the fourth podium, third, second. Well, overall, would be fourth if I get another one. Third for Red Arrow if I do it, because I finished on, I think, third at Sochi with downforce. Well, I'm not really expecting it. I don't seem to be as good in the dry than as I'm in the wet currently, or in mixed conditions where you gotta be on the dry line or keep close to it. So
well, it is Britain. Are you praying for rain then? We got the rain dance out in the pit lane.
Well, no, but no. It's just generally when there's rain or there's a dry line appearing, and it's the difficult stuff to handle, difficult conditions, I'm usually doing well there. So with a dry Silverstone and having some, I'm not sure, understeery feeling, and still wearing, I think, maybe tires a bit too much, I'm just more aiming for more points for the team and not like drop too much further back again from, well, driver standings. But yeah, I mostly want to help the team get more points on board and catch up to the top 10 in the standings.
But yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, being quite an experienced member of the league, let's be honest, you've been around a few years now and driven at all different levels of the ladder as well. What are we looking for in Silverstone here? What's going to be the biggest challenge to you as a driver? What are you looking at? Tyre wear? Are you looking at how certain areas of the track that have a problem? Do you watch just other drivers? Are they the issue, or what's the biggest problem here?
Oh,
biggest challenge.
The challenge in Formula Challenge. Currently, as I said, I think it's, as I had at auto tracks as well, not just Silverstone, I'm really having to look out for tire wear, because with R Factor 2, the difficulty has risen in being careful with your tires to make them last until the end of a race. So I also saw it at Montreal, as people like had wearing out rain tires. It had to be gotta be careful and cool them. So that's important. And here it is again. So I'm trying to keep them alive, which is also not very easy, since Silverstone has many right-hand turns that are very bad for the left front tire. So
do we expect to see people making pit stops here?
Not necessarily, since it's my personal maybe issue that I had with tires wearing. I mean, I saw people pit at Montreal, but I wasn't sure if it was like if they were the rain tires and they decided to pit, or if it was like a tactical thing that would be faster on dry tires. But in Silverstone, I'm still not expecting the top guys or the midfield to really pit, unless, I don't know, it's just really getting hot. But for me, it's the tire wear is one of the challenges, since it also kind of dictates the pace you get. Because if you overheat them too much, or if you wear them too early, you will just lose pace, just lose much too much. And it's always it's quite often it's a very challenge itself to get fast and then also be careful about tires. So it's probably my first thing, because you can't really race other fast people if you can't make the tires work, because you will already be slow by then. So I probably got to be first focusing on getting the tires in the working window and keeping them there without abusing them too much in those right-hand turns.
So if we think someone runs up into the distance to start with, they might get reined in later in the race, having worn their tyres potentially. Could be. Sounds an exciting idea. I had to put you on the spot now. If you had to pick who's going to potentially win this race out of your two drivers and yourself, where's your money going?
I would say after the. I would probably say, I feel, or at least I heard he's been using at Montreal a setup that was made for like dry weather, since like he's got so much speed on the straights and I couldn't catch in there. And he's also very much known for making his tires last in the World GT. I would say Chris Shepherd could be a good force here. Apart from him, always Roy Schroten is a guy, the Flying Dutchman, that is very fast. So I would see him up there. Roy, Chris, maybe also Lundberg, who also suffered some strange grip issues and so. But on the given day, with the perfect feeling, Lindbergh is just as good as the people at the front. So. And on the other hand, there's also the whole, not just Chris, also Maynard, there's the whole Stacks team, which is the next best force behind us right now. So I think I'll see Chris as the main speed guy. Although, as I say again, Roy's always up there to be counted, even if like I haven't seen him disconnecting from races. But it's him and Chris. I would say they are one of the good and experienced guys. So I would think I'd see them close to the front once more.
Fantastic. We'll be looking out for them aplenty and see what we can do there. I shall let you get off and do your preparations now with yourself and the team, and very good luck to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, and have a fun evening.
Thanks. So that was a quite interesting chat there, particularly with the team manager and the driver. He's basically named half the grid there as he thinks could potentially win this, which is great to hear. I've got somebody else in the room now. We heard from him last time, so we can bring in Patrick Gerber. Hello, Patrick.
Hello.
Hello. We spoke to you last time. Thank you for joining us again.
Pleasure.
Last time you actually had a quite a good round. It turned out after speaking to us, two good points finishes.
Yeah, I have, especially with my starting position in race 1. That was 28th, I remember, and I came back to 9th, which was sick with this traffic and the wet, but I loved it.
You quite like the changing conditions and the wet weather. Praying for that here.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this one. In the second race, it was more tricky because the track was drying out, but yeah, still good.
So going on to Silverstone, you're quite confident here. How are we feeling?
I really enjoy this track every time I do roundabout, and I hope for a good result. But again, I have penalty for starting position from last accident in Montreal, unfortunately. But I think I can fight. I can fight for podium here. So
you can fight for the podium here. Fantastic to hear. You find the tyres are a problem? A lot of people saying that around Silverstone, that might be a potential weakness to some people.
I think the tires can be a problem, especially with the end of the race, because they like to use it, especially in the fast corners. They like to be used so much.
How much slower are the tires when they are warm compared to nice fresh tires?
Lap per lap isn't a big difference, but with the whole distance we can lose around 1.5 seconds, I think, maybe 2 seconds even.
So it's quite a big drop. I mean, it could be. Do you think it's going to be worth anyone pitting to get fresh tires? And
no, absolutely not.
Short race of 13 laps,
yeah. But I think the tires are really weak this year, and that's what I'm saying. Since the first race, the biggest weakness of these cars are tires. They cannot push as we want because of these tires, I think.
Well, that is kind of up and down. It kind of does prepare you for. I don't know if you've driven any of the others in the ladder, but a couple of them are also quite hard wearing on the tyres, so they do burn them out, and it gets you ready for potentially moving up the series, maybe, if that's something we obviously spoke about, that sort of thing. because it's Formula Challenge and everyone tries to move forwards. Is that something you want to do next year, maybe?
You mean about learning here?
Well, everyone's learning in Formula Challenge. That's kind of how that's working, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the bottom level of the ladder, but it's still such great racing up and down the grid. I mean, we were just speaking to David Jump before, and he named pretty much half the grid that he thought to be on the podium or winning races. Do you see it as clear as that, or do you see there's like a bit of a hierarchy? There's a few guys that are probably podium place people, or there's some people that will not be quite out there.
I think you cannot be anytime sure who will finish on the podium. It's just unpredictable.
So I need to keep my money in my pocket, do I? Not betting anywhere. That seems a safe bet, to be honest. Don't put any money anywhere. Don't gamble.
You can bet that much he will win one race per weekend. You can bet it.
He hasn't done that every time. I know that has happened.
I think it was only one weekend that he did.
Most Monaco didn't, for example. I remember that one not.
And Austria. And Austria.
Oh, there's two exceptions to your rule already. But yes, it's a pretty good bet. I suppose championship leader at the moment. Yes, he would be doing rather well. And you think podiums where you're looking at? You don't think you go for that win?
I think it's time to. It's time to, because in Shanghai I was so close. In second race I lost the win by 0.3 of the second, and I think this is time to do it. But I know this time will come. I hope as soon as possible. But yeah, I think this track is really for me.
Fantastic. I love someone who's confident about the track and loves it, and you've got very good results this year. They're very consistent as well. There's a couple of DNFs, but that's not that's understandable as well, considering most people have when you look up and down the field. I think is that part and parcel of this series. There's a few, and that maybe the whole grid isn't quite up to the standard, maybe in some ways, or is it just so unlucky? It's just racing. That's how it is.
I think both, but especially I think the second thing, because sometimes always be, especially my teammates is really, I think from last 3 weekends in every race he was hit by someone, and I think from my point of view, every time it was just an accident, racing accident. I didn't get hurt from anyone much.
Well, that's always good to hear as well. I must say, Formula Challenge this year has surprised me to some degree. There's so many people up and down the grid that you wouldn't necessarily have thought about before the season, maybe. But everyone is surprising us, and you sat out there in 8th at the moment, and it's all very close, really. You're only actually a few points off 3rd place in the standings. I'd be very proud if I was you. I could only dream to be at that level. I shall let you get off and do your preparations, and very good luck once again. And hopefully we can speak to you next time after a podium. Right?
Thank you so much. See ya.
See you soon. And thank you again to Patrick. So anyone else likes to join us, I'm more than welcome to have you on board. It's great to see you guys. I shall quickly talk you through, because you'll be seeing at the moment on the feed we are sat in the garage. But unless there is cars on track, they are out and about. In places anyway. Having said that, I've just lost my stream, so that's not very useful to me. But they are all now into the on the server. There's a good few drivers ready there, prepping away. Granted, quite a few of them now disappear at this point, sort of part of their race preparations to move in and go, right, I'm going to get myself ready, I'm going to psych up, whether that is, I don't know, getting yourself something to eat, going to the loo maybe, it could be anything. Every driver does it slightly differently, but they at least get prepared at this stage, and maybe you've done all your practice at this stage. In the meantime, some drivers do like going out and hot lapping and making sure that setup is absolutely perfect. So we have got Thomas Kroll at the top at the moment on this new practice session, with Chris Shepherd in 2nd and Roy Shorten sitting in 3rd, all running around the 42.7 mark, the top two there, which Chris Shepherd's actually on a lap now, looking rather pacey. But it must be said that everyone is still starting to set the laps. We've still got a good another 20-25 minutes worth of practice now. It's a good point really, where a lot of people sort of show off a little bit, maybe check things out, just make sure they've got everything absolutely set onto that. All the setups are loaded, everything's all ready, and they're all very happy to carry on and make sure that they're comfortable in that car. tell you what we can do. We shall give you a quick, I'm sure they'll do it in the broadcast as well, but I might as well give you a quick rundown of the standings as well while we're at it, because we did allude to it there with a few of the drivers. So we have got Minek in first with 209 points after quite a few victories, and no DNF this year yet, which is very good. Roy Schoten there in second, only just behind with 172. Remember, of course, there's 25 points for a win here, and we've got 2 races, so potentially you can get a 50-point gain on somebody. So it may look quite big, but that's not over the course of one race weekend. Dave Junt, that we spoke to there, is sat in third with 128 points. Chris Shepherd with 124. James Earley with 116. And that's your top 5. The other one to mention is Liam DeWalt. He's actually sat in 6th with 113, but did miss the first couple of rounds. So had he been there, he might be further up. So he's always one to watch on these events as well, with a win to his name and a couple of podiums already. You can keep going down with Mike Quinn and Patrick Bear and Menno Clont and Roy Versailles. There's loads all the way up and down the grid that really could, and there's podiums and wins and plenty up and down the place. So always don't just discount and go, the top 5 are the ones that are there. Not necessarily always the case. And then teams-wise, let's get into that. So teams-wise, we have got Scuderia Basilia there, which we spoke to David Junt's team, with 323 points. Stax Racing sat in second with 232. Francic Grand Prix with 172. We've got Thunderdog with 175. In fact, that must be due to penalty, so I apologise. Thunderdog in third. TR Motorsports have 159 in fifth. EG Engineering 147. YTF1 143. You then go down to TTF Racing at 118. The Mighty Fourth at 113, and Holland Racing Team with 81. I tell you what, as there's not many, we'll keep rounding down anyway, give them all a bit of a shout out. So Downforce Racing sitting there with 79 points, Red Arrow with 77. The actual Academy team, which I don't, if you haven't been to the series before, we have a GPVWC Academy here. So if you are a driver who would like to race this series, but hasn't actually got a team yet, or you want to show your skills, get in touch with one of the admins and they can put you in the Academy car. So it's kind of like a little bit of a test car. You get a round out of it. It's the same car as everyone else, but you get one round in it, so it has been switching drivers each race. They've got 63 points. Quite a lot of those drivers have gone on to bag drives with a lot of these other teams. MBR Motorsport have 42 points. Royal Blue Racing Inventory with 34, and Arrow International Racing with 2. So that's 17 teams they're all in. And so when I mentioned that Academy, if you haven't had a chance yet, you can always get this mod. If you go onto the GPVWC forums, there's links there to the mod. Get it, try it out, then get on the forum and ask for jobs. And there's always drives going, even if you get on the server during the week at any point. Show your speed, show what you can do. A lot of managers do watch what goes on there. It's worth trying these cars as well, because actually you're looking, they might be quite easy because they're not a Formula One car. Try them. Really difficult in times, because this is a feeder series. They are quite difficult to get set up, particularly to actually get some real grip going on these cars. Really quite difficult. So I really admire the guys that can do this really well, because it's beyond me. But it's great. Just get involved. Try it. We've got the broadcast coming up. Have a good watch of that as well. You'll see exactly what goes on with these races, and hopefully be inspired and get involved, because it's a great league. There's so much happening here, and there's so much to come as well. Quickly shout out to other things. There's an international touring car championship coming up after the summer break. I believe details to be announced rather soon with that, so keep watching out on the site and the forum for that if you're interested in some hardtop racing. But at the other time, we have got the ladder, so tomorrow you can also catch the Super Cup, which is the next rung up, more powerful cars, and then you can go up to the Super League, where it's the full development ladder, basically as real as it gets for sim racing. At GPVWC, and then probably any league really, from the whole management structure and development of cars and engines. And that's on Thursday, and that's the primary series there as well. So make sure you catch that on this YouTube here, GPVWC YouTube. You can catch things on the forums, you can catch things on the Facebook, you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on the YouTube chat. So much to get involved with. Just start chatting to people. The community is brilliant, and there's so much racing to watch as well. You don't have to just listen to my dulcet tones on the pre-show. You can get more action than we're probably showing. Who else have I got? I believe I've got Mr. Well, in fact, I've got somebody we spoke to last time as well. Mr. David Fiduk, I shall pull in. Bear with me if I can grab him. He is a double double Super League champion, in fact, but also has a team here, Red Arrow Racing, which we, who David Junt is now racing for. And I shall pull him in now. David.
Good evening, Mike.
Good evening. I've just given you a big preamble. Double world champion, has a team in Formula Challenge. Thank you for joining me. Get me through these last few minutes before we move on and get the regular practice ready. So it's your team's home race. After all, you were the first Super League first champion that was British, I suppose, weren't you? So, and you brought the team along as well now. So, is it more important because it is your home race, or does it not really factor in?
I think it's more important to me than the guys driving. But yeah, it's always a special one when you turn up at your home Grand Prix. You always want to bring a few more temps to the drivers, and they're in there chatting away now, trying to find a few extra temps before quali.
Do you drivers leave it that late? I was having that debate as to whether or not this practice session here, the last half an hour, can you actually learn a lot in this half an hour before the race, or is it not just checking that your system's set up correctly, or are people actually still making massive changes to the setup?
No, not massive changes. There's a few tweaks on tyre pressure and maybe one or two clicks on the wing because obviously the track rubber's building up, so more grip, you can lower the downforce and change your pressures a bit, but nothing major. It can bring probably a tenth, maybe two if you hook up a good lap, but nothing major.
It's quite interesting. Are you finding problems with tyres at your team? Well, we spoke to David briefly there, but I know quite a few people in the server have been complaining that their front particularly are wearing heavily. You're confident with your guys?
With David, he's struggling a bit with the fronts, yeah, like you said. There's going to be quite a range of strategy in this one. Whether you keep a certain pace all race but a couple of seconds off, or you drop a few seconds at the start and then be fast at the end, or be fast at the start and drop pace at the end, or pit obviously, and attack all race. So it's going to be quite a wide open strategy, yeah, and like not knowing who's going to win until maybe the last couple of laps in both races. So
it's a bit of a tortoise and the hare sort of situation kicking in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And with the cloud cover building up now as well, you don't know track temp, so that could help the tyres a little bit. But yeah, Nick's out there now and they're kind of graining up a bit. So yeah, we're not sure what's going to happen just yet.
Is there that risk that actually if you go, I'm going to take it really easy at the start of the race to get them to last, and you end up wasting that because maybe you don't get a chance to use that speed, or maybe the tyres are never quite in that zone again? Is that a gamble, or are we really prepped and we know what's going to happen? You're just not telling me.
No.
Not revealing all your secrets before the race. I can understand. I'm not.
I don't know with these cars. I mean, I try my best to help the guys, but they can fit it under the palms of their hands, so I just leave them to it. But in that risk, there is the fact if you do the strategy as in back off at the start and go for it at the end. This is Formula Challenge. You've got like 20 cars around you, no matter where you are in the pack. And the midfield battle is so tight that, you could have the fresher tyres, but spend 5-6 laps getting past a few cars, and that's your strategy down the drain. So, yeah, I think we all...
Sounds to me you're going all out attack and get the track position down, if that's the case.
Well, I think DJ is. I don't know.
To be honest, I'd expect nothing less from DJ, actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's all attack or nothing anyway. But Nick at the minute is doing a few laps testing what pace he could save his tyres. I don't know if you've got a camera going or not, or if it's just a
we have got a camera going. We're actually with Philip Kong at the moment, but yes.
Yeah. So Nick's out there now testing the slow race pace start. But yeah, it's quite low grip offline. More than most tracks all season, it seems. I mean, if you go offline and break into the last corner, your back end's gone, and under acceleration as well. So I think a few guys are going to struggle tonight as well. So it's about keeping it on the road and trying to keep that 10th place battle within reach
As you say that, actually, the car we were just on board with did just do a lovely little pirouette there.
Oh, there you go.
just to prove your point, as if he was listening in. Thank you very much to Philip there. That was very much Philip. But that was actually overtaking the back marker there, or a slower car anyway, not back marker because we're in practice, but which is obviously in 13 laps is unlikely to be a problem. But you could very much find yourself, particularly in a Formula Challenge race where we do have the odd little accident or the odd spin, if you're well out of position coming up against some guys where you may have that advantage, there is that risk if you've got to go offline, like you say. It can make a big, not as much difference as we had at Canada where we had the wet weather, and obviously it made such a huge difference going offline. But for most tracks, this is it's quite a unique experience, really. Silverstone, I very much like it, not just because it is British.
Yeah, biased. Yeah. So on the racing line, the tires are bad enough, but offline, especially through Maggots, Beckett's, and all that, all those corners, it can really destroy your tires and drop the extra 3-4% just in one corner. So they really got to be careful out there and just bring the cars home. So that's my main target: bring them home in the points.
It's something maybe our viewers wouldn't know. We talk about percentage of tyres and that sort of stuff. Do these cars hit a cliff of tyres? Is there a point where they go, you know what, they're now undrivable? Or is it different for every track?
I don't know. Because Nick a couple of races ago, once he's got below 30, started to drop pace, but he wasn't sure if that was him or not. Whereas DJ can run them down to 15-10%. And it's
he runs them down to the rims, effectively, right?
Basically, yeah. And it's okay, whatever. Super League car, I'm not doing anywhere near that, so I'm just jealous at the minute. You do what you can do. I think it depends on the guy's style, to be honest. DJ just pounds it round and gets the times, makes them last all race. Some people are more careful and there's still a little bit of a drop off, so setup and styles, I guess. But
well, it all adds to the spectacle, isn't it? And everything else that we will be watching and seeing happen going forwards. I think that's pretty much going to be our show for now. Obviously, there's an awful lot of racing action coming up. So everybody, yes, we are going offline now for about 15 minutes. You then may find me back, or you may find a Mr. Jake Sanson. He is coming for the race, but whether or not he's ever qualifying, you may end up having to see me again. Apologies for that, but nonetheless, we will have all the action, qualifying, and the race coming up on this channel. If you've been watching the stream, you'll have seen that Lindbergh's currently been top in the standings with Wilt, Corrala, and Stefano and Gerber that we spoke to behind him as well. So if maybe that'll be the grid. Who knows? That practice might just be a one-off, or everyone might not be showing their speed yet. But we shall see in qualifying, which is coming up in about 15 minutes' time. So grab yourself a brew, get yourself a bar of chocolate or something, settle down, and get ready for qualifying. That was the pre-show. We'll be back again in 2 weeks for this as well. So if you're a driver or manager, come and join me, have a chat, and not enjoy the racing. Bye, everybody.